Hi, Tile from Infidelity here. Today we're going to talk about the new Acoustic Research AR-H1 open acoustic planar magnetic headphone, full-size headphone. This is actually a pretty stylish headphone. I actually quite like the look of it. You can see this nice grill pattern that's sort of semi-crystalline with changes to it to cause it not to be perfectly regular, and I really like the look of that. Overall, the headphone is quite good looking. This is a $599 headphone, which is a category that's recently got a lot of attention with the new Mr. Speaker's Aeon Flow Open, and Hi-Fi Man is coming out with the Sundara, and Odyssey has the new LCD2 Classic. So it's a price point that's getting a lot of attention all of a sudden, which is a good thing, to have this category filled up between $500 and $1,000. So I very much welcome seeing this new AR headphone. It's got a spring steel headband here. This is a leather head pad that's elastic on an elastic suspension. Has swivels on the earpieces on the end of the headband, and also forward and back. They're somewhat limited in their movement, but there's certainly plenty of movement to put it on your head and have it fit relatively correctly. The ear pads are some sort of a protein leather, so they're not real leather, and they are over memory foam. The cable that comes with it is about 5 feet long. It's a little kinky in terms of keeping the shape from when it was packed, and it has a 1/4-inch plug on the end that has a screw-on adapter to the 3.5 millimeter plug. It's a fairly nice little design, although the gray of the adapter is a little off from the black of the plug itself. It attaches to the headphones using two 2.5 millimeter mono plugs. They are not supported by any other mechanical structure underneath. This will make it nice for DIYers because it's going to be very easy to get a replacement cable, although it's not very mechanically sturdy in case it gets bashed. I really don't like the 2.5 millimeter plug on the end of a headphone cable, especially at this price point. Mr. Speakers uses their own plug, multi-pin plug. Odyssey uses the Mini XLR, although Hi-Fi Man does it like this quite often. But I'm not a fan of that particular plug. I think it's a little bit of a weak point. The ear pads do snap off very easily. You can snap them off, and I'm not going to do it because they're a little tough to get back on if you don't get it aligned properly. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it back on quickly if I do it here. But they do come off easily. You just have to be a little careful when you put them back on to get them aligned just right. And you can tell whether they're on properly, but because you'll see a little gap someplace when it's on there. Comfort-wise, I found them a little wanting. The pads are perfectly flat and parallel with the plane of the driver itself. And when I wear them, my ears do touch the motor assembly, the magnet assembly inside the headphone. It doesn't touch hard. I wouldn't call it discomfortable, but it does reduce the comfort of the headphone some. The bigger problem is the pad, the leather pad up on top. It seems to have a little too much pressure for me anyway. My head is a little bit larger than normal, but not too much. So this seems like there's a little bit too much pressure on the pad to be worn comfortably for extended periods of time for me. And I did see comments to that effect on the internet and amongst the headphone community there. Sound quality is okay, but it's not really good. The bass is good quality bass. The mid-range is a little rough, but the bigger problem is the upper mid-range, lower treble. The presence region is significantly recessed. It causes a sense of distance, maybe, and a sense of things being laid back too far in that area. The vocals don't have the richness of their overtones that I experienced when I listened to, for example, the Mr. Speaker Aeon Flow Open or the Odyssey LCD2 Classic, which I thought were quite a bit better in that regard. And the other problem is up at about 8 to 12K, there's quite a bit of energy in that mid-treble region. And, while it's not piercing, it adds this splashiness, this high-frequency splashiness around cymbals and vocal sibilants and things like that got tiresome after a while, fatiguing. It's sort of the same word, but I almost wouldn't call it fatiguing as much as I call it, I just had enough of it. I didn't want to listen to it too much more after a little while because of that high frequency splashiness. So the sound quality is okay, but it's not really great, and I don't think it's as good as other competitors at that same price point. I thought, for example, the Hi-Fi Man HE400S, although the bass response wasn't as good, had a smoother representation through the rest of the frequency response range. And the Mr. Speaker's Aeon Flow Open, while it's kind of a muffled sounding headphone a little bit, it's a sound that I quite like, and I actually took out the white one notch ear pad filters for the Mr. Speaker's Aeon Flow Open, so it more closely resembled this headphone, and it was still much more coherent sounding and well represented. Some people did say online that they thought these headphones had a big image. And what I found was the image did seem sort of big, but I think in part it's because that presence region was so withdrawn, it causes some distance to occur. And also the other headphones had more integrity in that image, was more coherent across the spectrum, and caused it to seem more solid, whereas this one was a little confused, which again made it possibly sound bigger than it actually was in truth. So in the end, I should mention also, before I wrap it up, the accessories. It comes with a fabric bag, and then just a very plain sort of cardboard box with a see if you can get it out, with a foam cutout, which is adequate. But when you add together the cable and the mini plugs on the end of the cable and the fabric bag, the headband being too tight, the frequency response being a little splashy up in the highs and withdrawn, I just thought, no, it's better to spend $200 more and go with the Odysseys or Mr. Speakers, or half the price and go with the Hi-Fi Man HE400s. It just doesn't quite cut it. So afraid to say I'm not going to be able to recommend this one. And we're going to be reviewing that Odyssey LCD2 Classic real soon, and also contacted Hi-Fi Man about the Sundara, and it's coming. I don't know how soon, but probably it'll be in the house before Christmas. Whether I can review it before CES, I don't know. But not going to be able to recommend this one at the moment. Sorry about that. All right. We'll see you guys next time.